Corporation, a relentless, drumming cadence that underscored the eerie silence within. Sarah Park, a dedicated junior analyst, had drawn the short straw for the night shift. Her colleagues had long departed, leaving her alone in the sprawling office, her desk lamp casting a lonely pool of light in the otherwise darkened room. Sarah glanced at the clock, 11:47 p.m. With a sigh, she stretched and refocused on the glowing screen before her, fingers tapping rhythmically on the keyboard. She had to finish the quarterly report by morning, but the growing storm outside made it hard to concentrate. Each flash of lightning momentarily illuminated the empty cubicles, creating fleeting shadows that seemed to dance and riot before vanishing into the gloom. As the rain intensified, so did the feeling of unease creeping up Sarah's spine. She couldn't shake the sensation of being watched, but every time she looked up, the office was as empty as before. Determined to finish her work, she dismissed her fears and kept typing. At midnight, the lights flickered and went out, plunging the office into darkness. The emergency lights had been on, bathing the space in a cold, bluish hue. Sarah's heart pounded as she reached for her phone, the dim light from its screen her only comfort. She dialed the building's security office, but the line was dead. Of course, she muttered, just my luck. A sudden noise behind her made Sarah whip around. It was faint, like a distant whisper, but distinct enough to send a shiver through her. She told herself it was just the building sound. The whispering grew louder, more insistent, filling the silence with a sinister hum. Sarah's breath quickened. She stood and walked to the window, peering out at the rain-soaked city below. The reflections of the streetlights on the wet pavement twisted into grotesque shapes, but nothing seemed amiss. Yet, the whispering persisted, now mingled with faint, unintelligible words. Grabbing her flashlight from her desk drawer, Sarah decided to investigate. The beam cut through the darkness, revealing the long, empty corridor leading to the break room. She walked cautiously, her footsteps muffled by the thick carpet. The whispering grew louder as she approached the break room door, now sounding like multiple voices, low and menacing. Pushing open the door, she found the room empty. Her eyes darted around, catching sight of the fridge humming quietly in the corner and the half-eaten lunch left by a colleague. She was about to turn back when the voices stopped abruptly. The sudden silence was deafening, pressing in on her ears. Then, she saw it, a faint outline in the reflection of the window, figure standing behind her, featureless and shadowy. She spun around, but the corridor was empty. Panic surged through her, and she ran back to her desk, heart racing. Sarah considered leaving, but the storm outside had turned violent, with thunder cracking so loudly it seemed to shake the building. The idea of braving the weather was almost as terrifying as staying. She decided to finish her report quickly and leave at the first sign of dawn. As she sat down, her computer screen flickered to life on its own, displaying a series of distorted images. Her files were replaced by photos of the office, each one darker and grainier than the last. The final image froze her blood, a close-up of her own face, taken from behind, as she sat at her desk moments ago. Her phone buzzed violently, a text message from an unknown number. The message read, "I see you." Sarah's hands trembled as she typed a reply, demanding to know who was doing this. The response was instantaneous. "Look up." Slowly, she raised her eyes to the window. There, in the reflection, was the same shadowy figure, closer now, almost looming over her shoulder. She spun around, but the room remained empty. Desperation clawed at her mind. She decided to go to the security office in the basement, convinced someone had to be playing a cruel prank. Grabbing her flashlight, she navigated the darkened hallways, the whispering voices now a constant, mocking companion. The elevator ride down was agonizingly slow, the air thick with tension. When the doors finally slid open, she was greeted by a corridor lit only by flickering emergency lights. The security office door was ajar, casting a thin sliver of light into the gloom. She pushed the door open, heart pounding. The room was empty, the security cameras displaying static. Desperation turned to horror as she saw the last message scrawled on the desk in what looked like dried blood. "You can't hide." Sarah backed away, the whispering voices now a cacophony, drowning out her thoughts. She stumbled into the hallway, the shadowy figure now clearly visible at the end, blocking her escape. It began to move towards her, slow and deliberate. In a blind panic, Sarah ran back to the elevator, hammering the button for the ground floor. The doors slid shut just as the figure reached her, its face still hidden in shadow. The elevator ascended, the whispers fading. When the doors opened, Sarah bolted into the rain pelting her as she burst outside. She didn't stop running until she was blocks away, drenched and gasping for breath. Sarah never returned to Halcyon Corporation. The building was investigated, but no evidence of foul play was found. The security footage from that night was mysteriously corrupted, and the office remained eerily silent, the whispers and shadows a dark memory that would haunt her forever.